05, 29 hours. Strait of Hormuz, 62 nautical miles southeast of Bandar Abbas. The Arabian Sea is still. The pre-dawn horizon carries a thin copper haze, the kind that distorts radar returns and blinds infrared sensors at low angles. Aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln, Carrier Strike Group 3 is running Standard Condition 3 watch. 4 F-A-8 Team E Super Hornets sit armed on the forward catapults. The carrier's AN Spulhar Date 1D radar mast sweeps the battlespace in measured 6-second rotations. Rear Admiral Commanding CSG-3 has maintained a defensive posture for 72 consecutive hours. Tehran's state broadcasts have grown louder. The strait has grown quieter. Every tactical action officer aboard the Lincoln understands what that silence usually precedes. At 0509 hours, the silence ends. 0509 hours, the science end times. 509 hours, first contact. An E-2D Hawkeye orbiting at 28,000 feet, 94 nautical miles north of the carrier registers an anomaly. Not one contact, not 10. A wall. The airborne radar operator reports the track count climbing in real time, 80 contacts, 140 contacts, 300 contacts. The returns are small, slow, and flying nap of the Earth at under 400 feet. The signature profile is unmistakable. Iranian Shahed 136 loitering munitions, Mohajer 6 reconnaissance strike drones, Arash 2 kamikaze UAVs, and mixed within the swarm, faster, heavier returns consistent with Karar turbojet drones carrying 200-kilogram warheads. The count does not stop climbing. By 0511 hours, Hawkeye confirms approximately 1,000 inbound air vehicles on converging vectors. The swarm is spread across a 40 nautical mile arc, layered in 3 altitude bands, advancing at speeds between 120 and 450 knots. The tactical action officer inside the Lincoln's Combat Information Center keys the 1MC. General Quarters. General Quarters. All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill. 05-313 hours. The battlespace reacts. The strike group transitions to Condition I in under 90 seconds. The Arleigh-Burke-class destroyers USS Bainbridge and USS Gridley reposition to the carrier's threat axis. The Ticonderoga-class cruiser USS Gettysburg moves into lead air defense station, its AN Sply-1B radar pushing 4 megawatts of peak power into the approaching swarm. The Aegis Combat System begins automated track correlation. Within 40 seconds, every inbound UAV is assigned a track number, a threat classification, and a kill priority. The CIC watchstanders call it the cascade, a digital avalanche of red symbols sliding across the tactical display. Weapons free is authorized at VIT 5-14 hours. The first RIM 174 Standard Missile 6 leaves the USS Gettysburg's forward vertical launch system at VIT 5-14-422. The solid rocket booster ignites with a concussive white flash. The missile climbs at Mach 3.5, arcs over, and intercepts a lead Shahed 136 at a range of 31 nautical miles. The drone disintegrates into a fireball visible from the carrier's island. 41 more Standard missiles leave the launchers in the next 4 minutes. The swarm absorbs the losses and keeps coming. EO 5018 hours. The saturation problem. The mathematics of the engagement begin to turn against the strike group. Each SM-6 costs approximately $4.3 million. Each Shahed 136 costs approximately $20,000. The Lincoln's escorts carry a finite number of interceptors in their Mark 41 vertical launch cells, 96 per Arleigh-Burke, 122 per Ticonderoga. The inbound threat exceeds the total combined missile magazine of the entire escort screen. The tactical action officer shifts doctrine. Long-range engagement is paused. The evolved Sea Sparrow missile becomes the primary interceptor, quad-packed 4 per cell, optimized for subsonic low-altitude threats. The destroyers begin firing ESSM Block 2 in rippled salvos of 8. The night sky erupts in overlapping rocket plumes. UAVs begin dropping from the sky in clusters. Pieces of fuselage, tail booms, and unexploded warheads rain into the Arabian Sea across a 60-mile corridor. But the swarm is layered. For every drone killed, 2 more advance behind it. Civet 5, 24 hours. Inside the inner ring. The first wave breaches the 10 nautical mile inner air defense zone at 5-24 hours. The phalanx close-in weapon systems on the Lincoln and her escorts come online with a mechanical shriek that every sailor topside recognizes instantly. Each phalanx fires 4,500 rounds per minute of 20mm tungsten penetrators. The guns slew, track, and engage in closed-loop autonomy. Human hands no longer touch the trigger. Tracer fire stitches the pre-dawn sky in continuous orange ribbons. UAVs vaporize mid-flight, shredded into metallic confetti. One Shahed 136 disintegrates 400 meters from the Lincoln's starboard beam, close enough for the concussion to rattle the hangar deck below. 4 F-A-18E Super Hornets from Strike Fighter Squadron 22 launch from catapults 1 and 2 at 05:25 hours. Each aircraft carries AIM-9X sidewinders and an internal M61 Vulcan cannon. The Hornets climb to 8,000 feet and dive into the swarm. The pilots report what the sensors cannot convey. The sky is full of them. Hundreds. Still coming. 6529 hours, the second wave. At 0529 hours, the E-2D Hawkeye detects a second launch signature, this one from 4 distinct coastal sites along the Iranian littoral. The second wave is not drones, it is cruise missiles. Noor and Gadir anti-ship missiles sea skimming at 15 meters above the wave tops, closing at 0.9 Mach. The UAV swarm was never the primary strike package. The UAV swarm was the saturation screen, designed to exhaust interceptor magazines and mask the real weapon. The tactical action officer recognizes the pattern instantly. He has seen it in classified war games. The doctrine has a name. The doctrine is Iranian and it is called the Hammer and the Veil. The Hammer is inbound. 22 cruise missiles. Time to impact, 11 minutes. 605433 hours, last-ditch defense. The escort screen repositions under emergency maneuvering. The USS Gettysburg pushes forward of the carrier and goes weapons-free with every remaining SM-2 and ESSM round. The USS Bainbridge angles 30 degrees off the Lincoln's starboard quarter. The carrier itself begins evasive zigzag at flank speed, 34 knots, white wake, boiling behind the stern. 11 of the 22 cruise missiles are destroyed in the outer engagement zone. 6 more are shredded by ESSM and phalanx fire inside 3 nautical miles. 2 are absorbed by decoy chaff and Nulka electronic warfare decoys, veering wildly into the sea. 3 cruise missiles survive. 0.5541 hours. Impact. At 0541 hours, the first Gadir missile strikes the USS Bainbridge at the waterline, 12 feet aft of the bridge. The 165-kilogram warhead detonates with a flash that registers on infrared satellites 400 kilometers above. A column of black smoke rises 900 feet. The destroyer lists immediately to starboard. Damage control parties flood the 4 magazines to prevent secondary detonation. 4 sailors are killed in the initial blast. 14 more are wounded. The Bainbridge loses primary power but holds waterline integrity. The second missile is destroyed 30 meters from the Lincoln's hull by the aft phalanx, so close that 20mm fragments embed in the flight deck's Kevlar anti-skid coating. The third missile does something no one aboard the carrier anticipates. SIF at 5:43 hours, the unthinkable. The third Gadir does not strike a ship. It detonates in the air, 800 feet above the carrier strike group, in a blinding, soundless white flash, an electromagnetic pulse weapon. Non-nuclear. A high-power microwave warhead, consistent with programs Iran has been rumored to field for 2 decades, and which no intelligence agency has confirmed until this moment. Every unshielded electronic system within a 4 nautical mile radius fails simultaneously. The Lincoln's flight deck lighting goes black. The island's radar masts stop rotating. The Aegis displays on the Bainbridge and the Gettysburg freeze mid-trek. The phalanx guns fall silent in the middle of a burst. The Super Hornets overhead lose data link, lose glass cockpit power, lose communications. 2 aircraft revert to analog backup instruments. 1 does not. For 11 seconds, the most powerful warship in the United States Navy is a 100,000-ton silhouette drifting through the Arabian Sea in total electronic silence. 0547 hours, everything went dark. By 0547 hours, 38 minutes after first contact, the engagement is effectively over. The surviving UAVs loiter out of fuel, splashing into the sea in a final grim cascade. No further cruise missiles launchers are detected. The Iranian coastal sites are already being struck by retaliatory Tomahawk salvos from the USS Preble and USS Stockdale, which were holding station 180 nautical miles to the south and were outside the electromagnetic pulse envelope. Aboard, the Lincoln emergency power restoration begins. Hardened systems come back online in stages. The radar mast resumes rotation at 55551 hours. Full combat capability is restored at 0614 hours 27 minutes after the pulse. Those 27 minutes will be studied in every naval war college for the next 50 years. The assessment is delivered to Fleet Command at 0630 hours. 47 Iranian UAVs penetrated the outer air defense ring. 1 Arleigh Burke destroyer is combat ineffective. 4 American sailors are dead. The carrier strike group expended 87% of its interceptor magazine in 38 minutes, a burn rate that no Pacific Theater war plan has ever modeled as survivable. But the deeper consequence is not measured in missiles or casualties. The deeper consequence is the flash at 800 feet. The United States Navy has just been shown in a single 38-minute engagement the saturation swarm of $20,000 drones can strip a carrier strike group of 87% of its defensive munitions, and that a single high-power microwave warhead, delivered on the back of that swarm, can silence a supercarrier. The strait settles, the haze lifts, the sun rises over the Arabian Sea at 0641 hours. The USS Abraham Lincoln turns southeast, escorts reforming on her flanks. The Bainbridge is taken under tow. The message from Fleet Command is brief, encrypted, and unambiguous. The battle space has changed. Everything went dark, and when the lights came back on, the doctrine of carrier invulnerability did not come back with them.